Hi, I'm Dani Gasparini, and welcome to this segment of Penn Voice. I'm joined today by Vice Mayor Michael Brownrigg, who is Vice Mayor of Burlingame, I should say, the city that you're from. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you very much. Pleased to be here.
So, gosh, Burlingame, where do we start? I'm so glad that the downtown is complete, so I can begin shopping again.
It's not complete yet, Dani. It's going to get even better.
You're going to tell me all about that. But so Burlingame, we know that downtown Burlingame is so popular, so unique, so different. We all from all over the county and even beyond come to Burlingame. But what else makes Burlingame so unique?
Well, thanks for asking. It's a very special city, and I'm honored to be on City Council. You know, I think one of the things that makes San Mateo County unique is that in the old days, when I was a kid, there were two sort of centers of gravity. There was San Francisco with its financial world and San Jose as it became Silicon Valley in the tech world. And really for a long time, San Mateo County and Burlingame were the outer orbits of these two.
Or just the pass-through.
Or the well, right. But as those two universes have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, instead of being the outer orbit of two, we find ourselves in the center of a single universe. And I think that's really exciting for San Mateo County. I think it's really exciting for Burlingame. It's one of the reasons we have 3,700 hotel rooms, because people want to be in the middle of the peninsula, and they want to be near SFO, they want to be near San Francisco, they want to be near San Jose. And in the meantime, they can enjoy our great restaurants and our beautiful streets and the Bayside Walk. So those are some of the things that make Burlingame special, I think.
And I do agree. We have the pleasure of a very short car drive to get the hustle and bustle in the epicenter of San Francisco, and as well as you said, our neighbors to the south. But yet we have the environment of some space and a few less people, but yet really the amenities that we look to find in some of our bigger cities.
We really do, and we have two other great assets. We have in Burlingame a fantastic school system, and I'm a really strong believer that great schools bring in great families, bring in great energy, help a city remain dynamic and growing and innovative. And we also have the Bay, and in the old days, all of us turned our back on the Bay. It used to be the dump. It used to be the water treatment. Now we're embracing the Bay with a new Bayside Trail. I hope that we, in the next couple of years, can build a beautiful new park on the Bayside and actually contribute to San Mateo County's parkland. That's our goal if the State Lands Commission cooperates with us.
Well, one of the things that you had mentioned is all of these wonderful resources and amenities that not only your residents in Burlingame can enjoy, but folks who are visiting. All of that takes dollars,
yep.
Economic development.
Yep.
You need the dollars within your city budget to do all of these quality of life kinds of things.
Right.
So how is Burlingame positioned itself to be so successful?
You know, it's interesting, Dani. We're very successful on one hand, and yet we lack resources on another. Let me briefly explain. So we are blessed with really significant streams of revenue from our property tax to our sales tax because of our downtown, and because of the hotel taxes. So hotel tax is actually the largest contributor to our budget, our single largest contributor. And what that means is that's money going into our general fund, paying for police, paying for fire, paying for tree trimming. And we have more money in the general fund per capita than almost any city in San Mateo County. So we're blessed. But what that isn't is the kind of money you need to build buildings, repair things. We have a rec center that's very old. We have City Hall that has asbestos and other seismic issues. We have sidewalks we all recognize need more work, need more money. So we are capital poor, but income rich. And that's great for services. It's what helps us keep Burlingame as special as it is, but we need to find a way to invest in some of our capital equipment, some of our buildings and
your infrastructure.
Our infrastructure, thank you.
And I think that cities, unlike the federal government, don't have the ability to print money.
No.
And so when you have tough economic times, you are sort of taking some of your general fund monies to ensure that you keep your police force and your fire at the same level of service, because just because there's a downturn in the economy doesn't mean that you can close a station or have less feet on the ground for public safety. So it always makes budgeting and saving, if you will, for these infrastructure needs that you know will come every 20, 40 years, et cetera, difficult, because you've got to keep the same level of service for your citizens. So I really understand what you're saying when we now have this cash that's available because our taxes are up, our transit occupancy, our hotels, people are shopping again, the economy's doing well, but here we have this infrastructure. So how do you meet that balance?
So it's a terrific question. It's something we wrestle with on council. One of the nice things about our city and our leadership at the staff level, and I think on council, is that we try to look ahead. We try to look ahead 5 years. We have kept our belts tight even after the recession. So our headcount has not grown appreciably in the last 15 years. But still those expenses go up, and we're committed to making sure we always have the best possible safety services for our city and for our people. One of the things that we did briefly is we merged our fire department with Hillsborough about a decade ago, and now we've added Millbrae as a partner. And what that means is that all 3 cities are getting more fire for less money. And if you look as a percentage of our budget, it's lower than it was 10 years ago, whereas other cities, it keeps going up and up and up. So we're trying to be creative, but it still doesn't create that pool of capital that we need to invest in infrastructure. So we're going to have a dialogue with our residents about that, about how we might be able to increase infrastructure capital for the City of Burlingame.
And we're not able to, in this 10 minutes, to take a deeper dive into the budget, but if someone ever wanted to, it's a real actually interesting read when people start looking at municipalities and their ability to either create revenue or to cut expenses. There are few and far between options, again, for cities, as there's all these layers of state and federal regulatory issues above and beyond that. Beyond your infrastructure, what are the other priorities for Burlingame?
So quality of life is one of the hallmarks of Burlingame. You put your finger on that right at the beginning. So we have some big projects that I'd really like to see through. 3 I'll mention in particular, all about quality of life, I think. One, in the very heart of our downtown. The heart of our downtown isn't Burlingame Avenue, as wonderful as it is. The heart of our downtown is the old post office. If you do a Google satellite image, that's the bullseye. And so we have an opportunity to do something really special there, and maybe even create a large public open space, maybe even a public square. Imagine that in this day and age, to create a public square, a public gathering place for the people of Burlingame. So I think that's exciting. On the Bay side, I referenced earlier, there's 8 acres that are just ring-fenced right now by the state. We want to talk to the state about opening that up to the people, creating a walking area for seniors, more playing fields for our kids, our growing community of children and youth sports. And then finally, we have a project to create 140 units of affordable housing in our downtown, half aimed at seniors who want to get out of their big homes and have a place downtown where they can walk and shop, but can't afford to buy a $2 million condo, and half for workforce. So the folks who are our paralegals, our car repair guys, are the people who make the city run. They're finding it, as we all know, harder and harder to find a home in San Mateo County, in the peninsula. And so this is not, doesn't create a solution all by itself, but it's part of a solution, and I'm excited about that. We're going to be talking about that real soon.
Well, and you have a unique position. You're vice mayor. You've been on the city council. Sort of where do you get your energy and your ideas, and how do you set priorities for yourself and then lead your colleagues to agree that that's sort of something that you would like to see Burlingame tackle?
Well, that's a great question. One, ideas come from people around town. I travel a lot. My work is my field is putting together public capital with private capital, where you can mix and create hybrid projects. And frankly, a lot of these kind of projects, can use that kind of financing. In the old days, it was just like, if the city didn't have the money, it wasn't going to get done.
Right.
But increasingly in government, we're saying, how can we work with the private sector and create a win-win outcome where, so for example, the parkland over on the Bay side, that might be several $1 millions to build, but what if we take 20% and make a hotel there and let the private developer build the parks for us without costing us? The affordable housing project, similarly, not a dollar from our budget needs to go into that affordable housing project. So how do we put those kind of things together? I like listening to people and learning from other cities. I think we all could share more than we do sometimes what works.
Well, and now I think that's the wave of the future, right, is to look regionally as to who's doing what and how do we replicate that. And I know that there's certainly a lot of what Burlingame's been doing replicated in other cities.
Well, I think we can all learn from each other, and I also want to give a tip of the hat to the county, because the county has led on certain things like the plastic bag ban and other things that are just really kind of time-consuming to create. A little city staff can't research how do you do a plastic bag ban, how do you do compostable, and
Right.
so forth. So I think we all need to share the ideas and what are working. We all need to realize, as we do really since the downturn in 2009, government doesn't have enough money. It's never going to have enough money.
Right.
And so we have to work with the private sector. We have to work for efficiency.
Well, Vice Mayor Brownrigg, thank you so much for joining us on Penn Voice. We'll invite you back to tell us about, make sure that you got that 8 acres into open space.
We'll
look forward
invite
to
you
that.
to the ribbon cutting, Dani.
Sounds wonderful. And we'll see all of you next time on Penn Voice.